Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am AttiDude back in another video, and in today's video we'll learn about operators in C# by AttiDude. So this video is gonna be all about operators, and if you don't know what these operators are, very useful things. They are used in every programming language, and they remain same no matter whichever language you choose. C#, C++, PHP, HTML, JavaScript, whichever you choose. These are same. These remain same, so you need not to learn these again and again while learning new programming languages. This is one of a benefit for this. If you haven't liked or subscribed my channel yet, do it now. I'll provide more content like this. So without any further ado, let's begin what these are and how are they useful. There are basically 6 types of operators. Let us see. Arithmetic operators, unary operators, assignment operators, relational operators, logical operators, and bitwise operators. Bitwise operators are not used in C#. I believe these are used in binary, while working with binary, and mostly in C# we don't work with binary. So we're just gonna understand the first 5: arithmetic, unary, assignment, relational, and logical operators. So let us get started. First of all, let's understand what are arithmetic operators. These operators are used to perform mathematical calculations. There are 5 such operators. Addition, that means we use the addition sign plus sign to add 2 values. Don't worry if you don't know the theory, we are also gonna see practically. Then we have subtraction, that means minus sign. Multiplication, that is the star sign. Division, which is represented by the slash, and the modulus, which is represented by the percentage sign. So let us understand what these are. Addition is basically addition of 2 values. Like if we have 2 numbers, we can add them. For example, we have 1 and 2, then we can add them to 1 and 2 is 3, so the result will be 3. Subtraction, 5 minus 2, that is 3, and the 5 minus sign, that minus sign we used is the subtraction operator. Then multiplication, we can use 5 multiplied by 10, and the sign that we use is star, and that represents multiplication. Then we have division, 50 divided by 2, and that will result us in 2, and the division sign that we use would be slash. And modulus is pretty different from the others. For example, we have a number like 50, or let us say 51, and if we apply modulus to 51, for example, if we write 51 modulus 2, so what it will do, that it will perform division, and whatever the remainder is, it will return it to us. For example, 51 modulus 2, and that will return us the 1 number as remainder. We'll get remainder as 1, and it is pretty useful because we can use them to create an odd even predictor, and now let us see how to use them. So this was the class that we edited in our last video, and in today's video let us understand what are operators. Practical example: delete everything inside of the main function, and now we're gonna comment that and define two integers. Int number 1 equals to 5, let's say. Int number 2 equals to, I don't want this line, 10. And now I can use them inside of console.writeLine, and you can pass in number 1. And for the first case, we understood addition operator, which is plus sign, so you can use them number 2 and semicolon. So let's just play and see. It will take some time, and it says 15. Yes, 10 plus 5 is 15. So now let us just go ahead and inverse this, but for our case we're gonna write number 1 as 10 and number 2 as 5 actually, and then we can multiply them using the star sign. Control D to copy the line to the next, divide, and at last modulus. Save the scene, actually not scene but the script, and let us see what is that. 10 plus 5 is 15, and 10 minus 5 is 5. 10 multiplied by 5 is 50. 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 10 modulus 5 is 0 because we have 0 remainder. 5 2s are 10, and we don't have any other remainder. So just close this, and you can see how easily you can implement the arithmetic operators. So the next type of operators are unary operators. These operators are used either for increment or decrement of a number. Pretty simple. There are just two such operators, which are increment, that means plus plus, and decrement, minus minus. We can use these operators either as prefix or postfix. Prefix means you can add them in front of the variable, that means plus plus x, and the postfix, that means behind the variable, that means x plus plus. So here we are inside of Visual Studio, and after this I'm gonna name this Arithmetic Operators, and after this we're gonna write unary operators, and then define some variables. For our case we just need one. Why am I typing public key? Public will not be available here, so write int x equals to 1. And since we're not using it, so it will show us warning, as you can see here. So now you can just go ahead and write console.writeLine and pass in a variable x plus plus, and then let us print out x. So run that, and we see x plus plus. I believe it's here. For now, just let us go ahead and make some space. Console.writeLine a blank line so that we get some space and understand where it is. Here, why it is empty. Run that again, and we see x plus plus is just 1 and x is 2. Why does that happen? Let us understand how does that happen. Because if we write this as a postfix, then first it will assign the value, or we can say first it will give the value of x to wherever we have demanded, and then increment this by 1. So when we printed out x here, its value was changed to 2. Let us just leave some space here. Okay. Now, if we write this as postfix, not prefix, you can see 2 and 2. That means if we write this as prefix, then it is first gonna increment and then assign the value or give the value. So this for both conditions will be same. But what if you wanted to print out x plus 1? You can just write x plus 1 like that without incrementing the x value. For now, just gonna leave this as plus plus x, and let's just type in x plus plus, and gonna delete this, run the console, and it says 2 because we are completely letting it to increment the value and then move forward here. So let us just use minus minus, run the code, and it is 0 because 1 minus 1 is 0. And no matter however you write plus plus x or minus minus x plus x plus plus, if you are writing just this thing, then no matter you use postfix or prefix, it will be same because we are not given it. We are setting the value of x. So it will not be like first give then assign, first assign then give. It will be just assign, not given. So it will be much easier. But if you want to write shortcuts, then you can use directly inside of console.writeLine or whatever you have. And there's just this much for the unary operators. Let us look at another ones. So let us understand assignment operators. These operators are used to assign the value of a variable. There are 6 such operators. Equal to, that means you're directly assigning it. Add equal to, that means we are adding the value to that number, or the value. Subtract equal to, which is the same as add equal to, except we are subtracting. Multiply equal to, that means we are multiplying that number directly with another value. Division equal to, or divide equal to, dividing directly. And modulus equal to, These are almost the same, but let us understand practical examples. So here we are inside of Visual Studio, and then let us write Assgnment Operators, and then we're gonna define several variables and add. And one thing, if you notice, I'm just gonna write a equals to 5. One thing you noticed that we assigned the value a for 5. We assigned the value and we used the equal to operator. Then let us write, not int, a plus equals to 5. And you can see operator plus equal to, that means we are adding plus to a. We can write console dot writeLine, and inside of this we can pass an a, but first we're gonna write blank line so that we know we have started. We're just gonna copy this, and after this we paste it. A minus equals to, it's better to leave lines, leave some spaces, and then paste that again. Minus equals to 10, so according to our calculations a will be 0 now. Then we can write a multiply equals to, basically multiply equals to will not work because anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So a minus equals to 2, that means we are left with 8, and you can write a multiply equals to 10. Then you can paste that line again. Then we can write a divide equals to 80. Then we can divide that by 40, or maybe 4. Then we're gonna again print that, and once we divided that 80 by 4, we are left with 20. And let us check this with number like 3. We know the 21 is not divisible by 3. We're gonna paste this line. So let us play and see. 5. The value of a is 5, then we get 10. That means we plus equals to 5. We added 5 to a, and after that we got 10. Then we decreased 2 from a, that means 10 minus 8, 10 minus 2, 8. When we're left with 8, we multiplied that with 10. So we got 80. Then we divided with 4, and divide that, we got 20. And then modulus, we used it with 3. And if we subtracted 3, 6, or 18, and we cannot completely divide a with 3, and we are left with remainder as 2. So after all, these operators are working and they are extremely useful. You can use this as a shortcut for a equals to a plus 5. And you know that basically is less understandable and more confusing and even it takes a lot of space. But if we instead write this, you can see it takes a lot less space, and it is even easier to write. I know the lazy writers who cannot write much faster, or beginners in typing, they have problem. So it's better. I recommend them to use this, because even lazy writers like me would be like writing whole big sentence. I don't like that. I just like to write that shortly or copy paste that. So it is very useful, and even it saves time for the professional level programmers who are working in huge industries. Needs a lot of time. They have a lot of work to do, and using these shortcut tricks, they can save a lot of time. So let us understand the next type of operator. So let us understand what are relational operators. These operators are used to compare two different values. These operators are also called comparison operators because they compare two different values. There are 6 such operators which are equal, that means equal to, which is marked by double equal signs. We have not equal to, which is marked by the exclamatory mark and the equal to sign. And at last we have greater than, not at last, but there are many. We have greater than, which marks if one value is greater than the other. Then we have less than, which shows if one value is less than the other. Greater than equal to, which will show if our value is either greater or equal to another value. And the less than equal to, which marks if one value is either less or equal to another value. And these are very useful. And one thing you need to understand is that relational operators return a boolean. Let us understand how these work inside of Visual Studio. So here we are inside of Visual Studio, and let us comment that out. Relational operators. Then we need several ints, or just two will be fine. Int c equals to, or maybe y equals to 10. Okay, we have int z equals to 5. And then we can print out inside of the console.writeLine here we can write y double equals to z. And one thing that you need to thoroughly remember is that these operators, relational operators, will always return a boolean value. So it will be either true or either false. So we just go ahead and copy and paste them. If it is not equal to z, if it is greater than z, if this is greater than or equal to z, if it is less than z or z, if it is less than or equal to z. But first let us just have a line which gives an empty output, empty line. So if we run and see, it says false. Wait a minute so that align these such that we can see y double equals to z. That means it will check if y is equal to z, and here in our case 10 does not equal to 5, so it has returned false. Y does not equal to z, which will return true if both of the values are not equal to each other. That means 10 does not equal to 5. That is true, so it returned true. Then we have y is less than z, which is of course false. Y is 10, and it is not actually less than z, it is greater than z. So y is greater than or equal to z. It's better if we don't declare any variables and just perform random functions like 1 double equals to 1, 2 does not equals to 5, not 5z, 5. Then basically these are less than signs. It's better if we write greater than first. 5 is greater than 10. No, it is not. 5 is either greater than or equal to 4. Is 10 less than 100? Is 1 less than or equal to 0? Close this. Run that again. 1 double equals to 1, that is true. 1 is equal to 1. True does not. 2 does not equal to 5. Yes, it does not equal to. 5 is greater than 10. No, it's not. 5 is greater than or equal to 4. True. Yes, it is greater than 4. And then we have 10 is less than 100. That also returns true because it is less than 100. We have 1 is either less than or equal to 0. No, it returned false. So let us just close this, and this is it for the relational operators. And now let us understand the logical operators. So logical operators. These operators are used to add multiple comparisons or inverse the value in a comparison. There are 3 such operators: and, or, and not. And is used for combining 2 different conditions. For example, for writing 2 is to equal to 5, if it is, then return true. If it is not, then return false. And that would return just one value. But if we want that 2 should also be equal to 5 and it should also be equal to 2, so 2 does not equal to 5, so that will return false, and the whole comparison will even return false. And or is used for giving a condition. If 1 is also true, then it will return true. If none of them are true, it will return false. And in the condition, we need all of the comparison to be either true or to be true. Not either. It should be true. Then the whole comparison will return true, else it will return false. And the work of NOT is basically very simple. It just inverts the value of whatever the boolean we get after comparison. For example, we get 2 double equals to 5. We checked if it is. And the answer that we got was false. It is not. But if we add in a NOT operator in front of that, we see that it inverts the value and will get true. Let us see with our practical examples. So here we are inside of Visual Studio, and let us add in several comments. One comment, not several. And this is going to be of type logical operators. And then have some console write lines. And here you can write 1 double equals to 2. Okay? And we are gonna wrap this inside of a bracket. It's okay if you don't, but it's personal preference. It's better if you do, so that you can understand that if one, let us say if 1 does not equal to 2 and 5 double equals to 5, then it is gonna return true. Let us see. We cannot see anything here because we have not left any line, so let us leave one console.write line. I hate this formatting. Let us play it and we see true, because 1 does not equal to 2 and 5 equals to 5. You needed to have all the conditions true to return the whole comparison to be true. You can even write 5 does not equal to 5. Let us see. It returns false, because for it to work, both of the conditions should be true, else it will return false. Let us go ahead here and add these in. If you don't know where these lines are, it is besides the enter key, the large one enter key, and above the shift key. It may vary from keyboard to keyboard. And let us see if 1 does equal to true and 5 double equals to 5. Let us see. It returns true, because this is false. We know 1 does not equal to 2, but 5 equals to 5. Even one of the condition is true from many, then this is gonna return true. And these operators are used a lot in game development, game dev for short. They are used a lot. Let us see. Let us try to be false everywhere. Press play. We see false, because 1 does not equal to 2. This will return false. And 5 equals to 5. This will also return true. Not false actually, because we have added in not equal to sign. And at last, basically, we can add in the last not modifier, but the operator, and just gonna have simple checks inside of curly brackets, not curly, simple brackets, and here I can write 10 is greater than 2, and we're gonna turn it not, let us say, less than 2. When we press play, we see it's true. This has to be false, and everything here, inside of here, it will inverse that. It's not needed that we write these. We can also go ahead and add in a bool, name this my bool, and it has to have some meaningful name. My bool equals to, just set that to be true or false, whatever you want, and we can just go ahead and pass in my bool. And if you're having a comparison, then you may have to use brackets, but if you're directly using the boolean as I am, you don't need any kind of brackets. Press play and it says false, because the value of current boolean is true and it will inverse that to be false. Let us say false, and yes, it inverts the value of my boolean, and it is very useful in game development. These all operators are used a lot in each and every program. You use them in each and every application, game, you use them. Most often we use this assignment operator, and the other time we use addition operators, arithmetic operators, these all. And sometimes we use unary operators, especially in loops. And our next videos are gonna be about conditions in loops, functions, classes, so you better hit the bell icon after subscribing our channel, so that you never miss any videos that are uploaded by us. You'll get notification whenever we upload them. If you haven't liked, share, subscribe my channel yet, do it now, and I'll provide more content like this. I am AttiDude, signing out.